Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of In Other Words with Danielle and Zara.
This is a podcast where we talk about a wide variety of different subjects, from music reviews to a series on red flags. So in other words, we talk about all the things.
Danielle, how are you today? And in life?
I'm well. I'm good, thanks. I mean, this
I'm
is
so
the
glad.
third time that we're recording this intro.
Yes.
Just to be real, but
Just
it is what
fun
it
times.
is.
So Danielle's been well 3 times today.
Yes.
Just getting better and better.
Better by the second, really. It's amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm enjoying my job, although I hate driving into town because of the traffic. I don't actually mind the drive, it's the traffic that kind of sucks.
But you know what's awesome about a long drive in the traffic is that you can listen to podcasts like In Other Words.
That is so
And
true,
you know what's
bestie.
great is we now release episodes in the morning, which means on a Monday morning.
Yes.
Guess what you can do on your way to work / school / whatever you do.
I can listen to myself talk.
That's beautiful. It's fantastic.
Amazing. And yes, studies are also going well, but it's very difficult to keep up the self-motivation because
Yes, masters.
there
is
are
a
no strict
different-
deadlines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different ball game. But I'm enjoying my
Yeah.
topic and everything that I read. So that's good.
Cool.
Sarah, how are you?
I am well. It is well with my soul. What can I say?
Excellent.
I love my job. I have one friend. So that's sad, but it's okay. I love everyone
That is
here.
okay.
It's just my circle includes old people and teenagers.
That's okay.
So, but we move.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But I mean,
I am well.
Good. You tweeted the other day that you have like grandma like habits or whatever,
Yes.
grandma hobbies, but you look like a teenager. So you fit into all the different circles. So
This
that's
is
okay.
So true.
Yeah.
God made me like this for a reason.
So true.
Embracing me. Okay, let's stop talking
So-
nonsense.
Yes. So this episode we are discussing TMI questions. So Zara, do you want to
Yes.
explain what we meant by that?
Yes. Okay. So TMI means like too much information, but what for the older people who don't know. So what we meant is ask questions that you are too afraid to like ask anyone else because it's too embarrassing, or like you feel like you need to Google it in incognito mode because like you're too embarrassed. So
Yes.
that's what we meant. But I think some people maybe thought they were like personal questions about us. So we got
Yeah.
like one of those, but that's okay. I'm just fascinated that people want to have us talk about sex when we're virgins, like personally. And so I think we're going to rename the podcast to Virgins Talking About Sex. What do you say about that?
I think it's an excellent name. We can do a poll on Instagram and see if people agree with us.
So we have to.
But I seriously just imagine myself putting it on my CV, like co-host of Virgins Who Talk About Sex podcast.
It's perfect.
Wonderful. Anyway,
Okay. So let's jump into the questions from SurveyMonkey.
Yeah.
So completely anonymous.
completely anonymous. And if you don't know where to submit your questions, you need to follow us on Instagram at in other
You
words
do.
_podcast, because
You
then
have
you can
to.
be kept up to date with everything.
Exactly.
So yeah. Okay.
All
First
right,
question.
let's jump in. If you are like maybe under the age of 13, listen with a parent, but nothing's like
Yeah.
in
We don't really
or
talk about
risque.
Yeah, we don't really talk about very explicit things,
No.
even though our
We're
producer wants
virgins.
us to.
We've never had sex. I just said I'm gonna stop talking. Just go.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just got hair in my mouth. Excuse me.
Yum.
So the first question: have you ever had or will have sex with your future partner?
So I'm just picturing someone Googling this. And I just wonder what the results would be. Very
Dodgy.
scary.
So
Yes.
both of us, as we have said so many times, are virgins. We are waiting for marriage to have sex. So
Yes.
to my knowledge, neither of us have had sex,
We have
but
not.
we do plan on it when we get married, not to each other, but to significant others.
So yes, we are not going to stay celibate for
Mm-mm.
life.
No,
I also
I don't
think,
plan on being a nun.
from what I've heard, not having sex in marriage is unbiblical and kind of unhealthy.
Yeah, I'd assume it's unhealthy. If you are purposefully, what's it? Withholding. If you're purposefully withholding sex, that is bad. Don't do it.
Yes.
Yes,
That
but
can be
obviously
like-
if you don't want to, like,
Then
you can,
don't.
you don't have to. Okay. Anyway,
Right.
that's a different discussion.
Yes, we have another sex question coming up in the future, so we'll talk more about that because people just love it.
Yes.
Okay, next. What's it like to really kiss? So this is like kind of a cute question, actually.
It is cute. Okay.
Danielle, you had your first kiss before me. You were 16?
15.
Or you 15?
Yeah.
Ah,
I
with
was
braces
15.
and all.
Yes, I did have braces. It's okay. So when David and I had our first kiss, neither of us had ever kissed anyone else before, so it was kind of like a bit
Nor have you
awkward.
kissed anyone else after, which is so cute.
I've never, and neither has he. But yeah, so it was like a bit awkward, but like not bad at all, and you kind of just learn together, like
Mm-hmm.
grow as we go, as Mr. Ben Platt says.
Yes, love him.
But it's nice. It's nice to have someone to kiss. I don't really know what to say.
Yes, it's
Like,
like
you
how
need
do you
practice, I
describe
guess.
a kiss?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I was 17 when I had my first kiss, but like the one thing I will say is that like it's learned.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to think kissing was really gross, which is ironic now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why would you want to stick your tongue in someone else's mouth? And I promise it's not that intense. If you just stick your
Yeah.
tongue in someone's mouth, yeah, it's not great. But it does release endorphins. So like,
Yes.
that's why it's a nice thing.
Mm.
The one thing I will say is that it feels 100 times better when you're kissing someone that you actually care about. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's just a way to feel close to someone. And like, I think it's not, if you haven't had your first kiss, because I'm assuming this person hasn't, it's normal to be nervous, but I promise like you will instinctively like
Yeah.
learn.
Know what to do.
Yes. So,
And like, it's not going to
if-
be perfect the first time. It's not going to be perfect. Next one. How much shaving is too much shaving for girls, or how much is common? So I assume they mean like how often or
Yes.
when to stop. So basically,
yeah.
it differs from person to person. I only shave once a week because I don't really need to shave more than that.
Yeah.
It's really all up to personal preference. And then like how much shaving is too much? Well, like if you're shaving like twice a day, that's probably too much.
Yeah. Also, like your skin kind of does need a rest, and like I think if you
Yeah.
shave too much, like you'll probably get ingrowns, and it's just like
Yeah.
yeah. Just be careful about that. But I literally think everyone is different. It really depends on like how fast your hair grows, how thick your
Yeah.
hair is, and like
Yeah.
so for me, I will shave my underarms a lot more often than I will shave my legs. In fact, to be honest, I don't care, TMI, in the winter, if no one's going to see my legs and I'm wearing jeans, then you best believe I'm not shaving, because shaving isn't fun. But the feeling of like smooth legs is like the best.
It's
But, like,
amazing. It's amazing.
yeah. So like I shave like maybe once every 4 days. Yeah. So
Yeah.
But I really don't know what other people do. That's
Yeah.
not something I've spoken in depth with anyone about, actually.
No, I mean, like, yeah, people have personal preference, like I said, and some people hate the feeling of like the hair growing back. I don't really mind it because
Yeah.
I literally don't care. Like some people
It's
don't like
hair.
that people can see it. Exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, it's hair, it's meant to grow there. And like, don't feel like you always have to be perfectly hairless in case like some guy or some girl, whatever your preference is, sees your legs or your underarms or your face or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's all up to you.
Hair
It grows
is
on your
hair.
body. It is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Next one. This is a funny one.
I was just like, really? Okay. Is there a female equivalent of morning wood?
So
No.
morning wood, that's when a guy gets an erection in the morning. So
Which
girls do
okay.
not do that.
No, and also this is not necessarily a sexual thing at all. I mean, it can be, but it usually happens like to young boys, if I am correct. Like
Yeah.
it's actually quite
I-
common.
I-
Like at like around age 8, I don't know. It's just
Did you
something
Google
their body does. Yes, because apparently there's like a hormone change.
Yeah.
But no, girls don't. The only thing I can compare it to is like we have discharge. So we'll wake up
That's
in the
not
morning,
really the same.
but it's not the same
though.
at all. It's not the same at all. And we are going to do an episode on female health, so we can talk about that there, which I'm looking forward to. Okay, moving on. Should we?
My turn to read.
Yes. Should we
Combine the
read
two
both questions? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you read the one, I'll read the other.
Okay. Are you ever too young to get married if you feel you have really found the one you want to spend the rest of your life with?
Okay, and then the other one is very similar. What's a good age to get married? How long do you have to date the person before getting married? I know it's different for everyone, but just want to know your thoughts.
Winking face. Okay. So you should at least date for 6 years, like me and Devin, before you get married. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the perfect.
Wait, but you guys aren't even getting married now, so maybe like once you guys
8.
get married, then we'll give you like
that's just
the exact
everything I do.
timeline. Yes.
I kid. Like, no, don't do that.
No,
Yeah.
I know people who've dated like less than a year and have like sealed the deal.
Yeah.
I think like the first question you have to ask, and like I don't know how much, I can only speak from where I am now because I'm not planning on getting married anytime soon, but I think you need to ask why. Like, why do you want to get married? Like, especially if you're young, do you want to get married because you want to have sex? Because that's a really bad reason to get married. Do you want to get married because you want to be out of your parents' house? That's a really bad reason. You can get out of your parents' house without having to attach yourself to someone else. But I think what matters is how like serious do you, like, what is your view of marriage? How serious do you take marriage? And like, how mature are you actually? And I know that you may think that you're mature, but every year I look at myself from the year before and I'm like, wowza, you're so immature.
Yeah.
So like, I think maturity is something to take into consideration. And also just remember that you are inevitably going to change and the other person is inevitably going to change. And it's like, I think the benefit to dating a little bit longer is that you can kind of see if you guys are kind of growing in the same direction. And I just think you really have to know the person. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like really know the person. And I think like the Lord will definitely guide you. To be honest, I think if you get married super young, I think the youngest person I know who got engaged when they were 20. But like I've heard of people getting married earlier. I think you just really have to be mature and understand that marriage is not fun all the time. Like if you know that someone's the one, remember that you're getting them for however many hours in the day that you're getting them, where it's all fun and games and happy. But living with a person 24/7,
it's very different.
Yeah. And then also finances is something that you're going to have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
And like
it's not the be all end all.
No, and you don't have to be rich. If you're waiting to be financially ready, you'll probably never be financially ready.
Yeah. Not in this economy.
No. So yeah, you need to ask yourself, like, what kind of wedding do I want to have? I rate small, but you know, some people it's a big deal. And it's like you actually, talking finances the younger you are can actually be like really awkward. Like, are you willing to talk to your future spouse about what are we gonna do financially? Where are we going? Will we have a joint bank account? Like, these are things that you don't think to talk about. You just want to like be with the person. But it's like, I don't know, my best advice would just be talk to an older couple. And they can give you guidance, especially an older couple that knows you. But like I look at myself at like 21 and I was like, I could never have gotten married. But then we look at someone like when Justin and Emma got married, I was like, love
they
them.
were ready.
Shout out to them, they were definitely ready. So
yeah, I think like just with regards to the first question, like, are you ever too young to get married? And like, yes, I do think there is such a thing as being too young. If you're under the age of 18, obviously you cannot get married.
No, you cannot, and there's a good reason for that.
Like I feel like it's a bit of an unpopular opinion, like especially within some like sectors of the church and all that, because they're kind of like, oh, you know, you start dating and you get married. But like, just keep in mind that I think it's your prefrontal cortex of your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25, and that's like your logical part of your brain. So I'm not saying that like, oh, you have to wait until you're 25 to get married. I mean, I know lots of people who've gotten married before the age of 25 and have had a very long and healthy and happy marriage. So you don't need to wait that long, but just keep that in mind that you're not fully developed yet. And
it'll be worth the wait.
It'll be worth the wait. That's the thing.
And
like, I don't think it's harmful to date a little bit long, like not as long as I've been dating. Like the only reason we've been dating that long is because
you started
in high school
so young.
Exactly.
Which is the benefit also of not dating in high school, I think.
Yes.
Like it's kind of nice.
But it's also like, I can also say that it's also nice to like you said, like
you've seen each other
time
in so many seasons.
Exactly. So that's also like a benefit. And like I would say, to be honest, in my personal opinion, I'd say at least at the minimum date for a year before getting married, like at the least. And it depends on what age you are. Like if you start dating when you're 20, like you can wait a little bit longer. If you start dating when you're like 30, like people kind of know quicker,
you know,
that
yourself.
They want to get married to that
chances
person.
are you've maybe dated other people, so you kind of know what you want, know what you don't want.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different factors to take into account, and also like I might get married younger than some of my friends, but it's only because I've been dating longer. Like I've known my partner longer than what they might know their partners. So like it makes sense. So it is all very dependent on you. I'd say just be careful. Marriage is a big decision. It's not something to take lightly just because like, oh, you want to have sex. Like if you want to have sex so badly, I don't know, like just reevaluate your priorities.
Motive. Especially if you are Christian. I'm assuming you're Christian if you're waiting for marriage. Like that is such a like important part of marriage, but it's such a small fraction. Like how many hours in the day is that compared to like the everything else in life? So yeah, and like it will form part of the reason, but it shouldn't be the reason. The only reason.
Anyway,
cool.
I think that's all.
Yes. Do you want to read the next one?
Okay. This one says sex before or after marriage. Why? So
why? I have lots to say about this. Yes.
Well, we are virgins who talk about sex.
Yes, we are. And my view of sex has changed so much from when I was like 16 to now. Like, I don't know, the media really paints it very poorly.
100%.
Like, it's happened not like that. But okay, so should we talk about maybe why we wait? Because I think that's like actually my heart behind, like, it's a lot easier for me to wait when I know why I'm waiting, you know?
So the reason why we wait is because we believe that God has created sex for marriage. It is something sacred for people who are married to do. So that's pretty much why we wait, like in a nutshell. Do you want to explain more?
So I think what's dangerous is there is this narrative of if you've had sex, like you are damaged goods, like you are connected, like your soul is connected to someone for the rest of eternity. And I don't think
not biblical, by the way.
That's the case. Yes, the soul ties I've never mentioned.
It's not
in the
biblical.
Bible. However, like from even like studies that have been done outside of Christianity, a lot of marriages and of people who waited till marriage actually have genuinely strong marriages. And the reason is when you have sex, it releases the hormone oxytocin, which is literally a chemically bonding hormone. Like it makes you closer to the person, which is why I think it can be dangerous, like when you're having sex with multiple people. Because even like relationships, like so often people stay in relationships for the physical, and you can often be like tricked into being closer to the person than you actually are, because this is a biological thing that happens. And what is so cool in marriage is that when you're having sex, this hormone is constantly being released, and so you're constantly like coming together. So you're constantly being chemically, like, it sounds so like scientific and weird at the same time.
Dead. Anyway, come together. Okay.
Cue Michael Scott.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
So there's that. And then next, we believe sex is worship, which sounds so dodge. Like when you think about it.
It sounds very culty, to be honest.
Yes. But interestingly enough, like in like the Greco-Roman times, like a lot of sacrifices to these gods would be a sacrifice of semen, which is so interesting. And that's why there were like temple prostitutes were a thing. And like in a lot of cults, they're like orgies and this weird stuff, you know, like you've seen, I've seen documentaries. And so like that in a sense is worship. And so when sex is done within the covenant of marriage, it is worship. And I think that's why it's so important that we don't tell, like, especially in the church, we don't say, don't have sex is bad, don't have sex is bad.
Yeah.
Because then when you get married, it's like you feel like guilty. It's like, am I allowed to do this? When yes, you are.
And there have been women who think that, and like men as well, and they like get married and they're like, how do I make this adjustment from thinking sex is like awful and this sinful thing, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can do it?
Yes,
but like,
so
it's sinful,
that's why
so how can I do it?
Exactly. That's why it's important to understand that it is worship. It's a good thing in marriage. And like one more analogy is like, I use this just because it helps me like understand why sex is beautiful within marriage, is fire. If you set a fire in your house, fires can rage like everywhere, and it can cause a lot of damage, like even just emotional damage, etc., etc. I don't want to be too dramatic, but within the confines of marriage, like if you light a fire in your fireplace, it warms the home, it provides heat. Yeah, it's a good thing in the right context. So yeah, that's kind of why I wait. Sometimes if I say, oh, I'm waiting because the Bible says so, it makes it a little bit harder to wait. And so there has to be that conviction of, I want to honor God. Yeah, like not,
it's also like,
this is what my mom told me to do.
Yeah. And like, it's, you actually can't find a verse that specifically says you must wait until you're married to have sex. Like that verse doesn't necessarily exist. Doesn't like allude to like
they're very
like
explicit
for
illusions.
Marriage.
Yeah. If you burn with the lust, get married. Thanks, Paul.
Although people read that incorrectly. I saw Sheila Gregoire. We talk about it all the time.
Guys,
and she like wrote a thing about that.
And
it's really interesting. Yeah. You know, it is it's difficult, and I think the longer that you wait, it makes it like the
more
reasons
difficult.
seem less.
Yes.
The reasons seem less.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. Keep reminding yourself why, otherwise it's going to be like,
yeah.
Okay. So that's why. Okay. Next question. If any of you are on birth control, obviously you don't have to mention that. Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. What are the benefits of it, and in your opinion, is it worth it? So because we're going to do an episode on female health, we won't go too in depth, but let's just like touch on it briefly. What are your thoughts? Birth control, I'm assuming the pill, because they didn't say contraceptive.
Birth control, that usually means the pill. So I am not, and nor have I ever been on the pill, because I haven't needed to. Personally, I'm a bit skeptical of the pill, just like in terms of my hormones and my mental health. Like that's the reason like why I am a bit like wary of it. But it doesn't mean that I would never use it. I think it's obviously a very effective form of contraception, not 100%
not
100%. Yes. But it is very effective. I think like if you're using it for health reasons, like a lot of women have really benefited from using the pill, like to control their periods and help with pain and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't want to, there are other like more holistic ways to do that. Like if you have the time and you have the money,
Yes.
But there is definitely like a time and place for the pill, but I've never been on it, so my opinion doesn't really count for much, but I have done a lot of reading.
Yes.
But yeah.
So I, on the other hand, have had much experience with the pill. So I actually went on the pill when I was 15 because I had irregular cycles, and I don't necessarily think, guys, that you will girls. I don't necessarily think if you have an irregular cycle you need to go on the pill, because your body will work itself out, especially if you're young.
Yeah.
So don't stress about that. The only reason I went on the pill is I had excessive bleeding, and I'll talk about that more in female health. So I went on the pill, and I've been on multiple pills, and the side effects were terrible. I felt incredibly nauseous, or it made me like hungry all the time, or it just had a very terrible like effect on my body. Like I didn't feel right. And so I went off the pill, and then through the years, doctors have like encouraged me to go back on the pill because of the fact that I have excessive bleeding, irregular periods, and hectic period pain. So I would say the pros of being on the pill is that you do have less period pain. You know when your period's going to happen. And obviously a benefit is you probably won't get pregnant. That's not been an issue for me. The one other pro, because I know actually multiple people that have been put on the pill for their skin. Yeah. And so, yes, I mean, talk to your doctor. You can't get a pill without some sort of prescription. So, and there's a reason for that. So if skin is like a thing, go ask a doctor. But we
go to your dermatologist though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I know
there are other methods.
There are other methods, and I know of a few people who go on the pill for their skin, and then as soon as they come off it, it goes right back to like how it is. Like it's not a permanent fix. And like what I've been on Accutane and all that kind of stuff, and it's been really effective for me. I had to go on it twice though, like a lot of people do, just to sort it out. And like I would never go back on it because of how it affects my mental health. And like they are like better. There are ways that you can fix your skin and like things with your hormones more holistically if that's what you're into. Obviously, if you don't have time for that, if you don't have money for that, the pill can be an option. But go talk to your doctor. And my unpopular opinion with the pill, I'm just going to talk, is that
yes, no problem.
Doctors kind of just, women are very complicated, I think, for some doctors. Like the body is difficult. We're like, our hormones are different to men,
which is why I like am pretty set that I want to go to a female gynecologist. Yeah.
And like a lot of times, like a woman will come in like, oh, I'm having really bad period pains. Oh, my skin is really annoying. And the doctor is just like, oh, just go on the pill. And it's like, there's nothing that is looking at, oh, what's actually going on inside to fix the root cause.
Our mind and our bodies and everything are connected.
So I think that's just something to be cautious of. Like sometimes it is just the easy way out. Once again, I'm not a doctor. Please don't come for me. It's just my opinion.
I'm coming for you.
But
coming back to Cape Town.
But like I said, there is a time and place. Just go to your doctor. Anyway.
The negatives I will just mention is
go.
Apart from the fact that I said like I felt terrible and it's a lot of extra admin, like you have to take it at the same time every day. Guys, as you know, I have bipolar disorder, so I like physically can't be on the pill. It like completely takes away the efficacy of my one like mood stabilizer. So
it's insane.
Not a good time. But like I said, I will actually talk about the various pills I've been on and kind of give you a review of it if you want it in the female health. So we can chat about that because I can tell you what multiple pills did to my body. But it does that.
Cool. Indeed. Okay. When do you draw the line in terms of people making jokes? Because I've had some messed up jokes come my way. That's a difficult one. Like, people can so often say the most offensive and gross things and then just say, oh, but it was just a joke. Like, I can't be offended. It was just a joke.
That's not okay. Even if it's not about you. Like,
even if it's about like a group of people or people you don't know. Like,
if you're using dark humor or prejudice and covering it up with humor, like with it was just a joke, like no, then you say something honestly.
I think what you do, like, just to recognize if it is something that is objectively offensive, because some things are objectively offensive, like if it's making stereotypes, like gross stereotypes about groups of people. If it isn't actually funny and you're only laughing because it's uncomfortable, then it's not funny. Like you can always tell if a joke is a joke by like how it makes you feel.
Yes.
And if you actually if you feel down about it, then it's not funny. So
no,
like it seems obvious, but that's how it is.
And also just I think look at the person's intent. Sometimes they say something that is a sensitive spot for you, but they didn't realize, and that's where like you tell someone, you know, you communicate that, or you say like, if it's 4 days before my period, there's certain things that I won't find funny, and so that moment I can step back and say, sorry, being sensitive. However, if someone's genuinely offending you, honestly, bar telling them to stop being offensive, just find nicer friends. Like, find friends who are going to lift you up and encourage you and speak life and not ugly.
Do you know, actually, one of the most effective ways that you can deal with people like this, because there are some people who genuinely just love making offensive jokes because it's like, oh, it's so funny, it's so offensive and edgy. If someone, for example, makes a sexist joke, just be like, oh, I don't understand, please explain it to me, because then they have to sit and explain why it's funny, and then they admit to being sexist or to being racist or whatever. So literally just be like, oh, I don't understand, please explain.
Guys, go on YouTube,
and then they will really think about it.
Go on YouTube and search for female celebrities clapping back at interviewers. Some of their comebacks are so good. Like Scarlett Johansson's done it, I think Britney Spears has done it, and I'm like, you go girl.
Mm-hmm.
But don't stand for,
just play stupid.
Yes, it's perfect.
Like, I don't understand.
Cool. Next question. This is quite like a hectic one. Okay, what are your views on therapy, for example family therapy, if one member wants to go or feels the need for it but others don't?
Interesting. So we did do a mental health series.
Yes, we spoke about therapy in the 3rd episode. Here Comes the Sun.
Yes. So we are both like very pro therapy. It has many advantages. Just with your example that you put here with like regards to family therapy, if one member wants to go or feels the need for it but others don't, I am of the opinion that therapy is most effective for people who want to go, who want to change.
This is the thing. Yeah.
So if, let's say it's couple therapy, family therapy, whatever, and you feel like it would be really beneficial for everyone to go, but not everyone wants to go, it's not going to be beneficial for them because they're going to be thinking the whole time, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to benefit from being here.
Yeah.
So just think about that. And I mean, there's no harm if you just go, like if one person just goes, because you can get different perspectives. You can understand why you feel certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think.
I think definitely be open to like group therapy. But it can, like you said, I'm of the opinion that if someone doesn't want to get help or doesn't want, because people have a variety of reasons. Sometimes someone just thinks they don't have any issues, so it's like you're the problem, or they're like, I'm too guilty, like I don't want to sit and have to confess all my sins to a stranger. The one thing I will say, if you're just feeling hesitant of therapy in general, like just remember that these people are trained professionals, like they know the questions to ask. You don't have to be put in, like they're not going to force you to speak about things that are uncomfortable for you. You will speak about things that are uncomfortable for you, but they will put you like at ease. But family therapy, it's great if you can get the whole family to go, and I think maybe just communicate it in a way that's not like forceful, but like just say like this would be like beneficial, I think. But we unfortunately can't force people. And the thing that I see often, it's really sad, is like I think a lot of teenagers like would really benefit from therapy, so would adults, but their parents don't believe in it in this generation. And sometimes you just physically like can't convince a parent and you can't afford it. And so this is how I think like churches come in handy so much, is like some pastors are trained in counseling, and there are pastors, myself included, who are not going to say just pray and you'll be better. So like there are other avenues. So open up, reach out, talk to someone.
Yeah. And I mean, school therapy, like school therapists,
school
are also a
counselors,
thing.
yes, for sure.
So definitely think about that. But
yes,
yeah, therapy is good if you want to go. I would.
Yes.
I mean, I've never been, but I would recommend.
Yes. No. And like my psychologist, she calls them like check-in appointments. So we'll make an appointment like every 3 months, if need be. Like it's not when you're going to therapy, you don't have to go like once a week, and so that's my thoughts.
All right, this is the last one, which I found really hilarious.
Hilarious.
Is it a sin to shave your pubic hair? Short answer, no. Unless God specifically told you not to.
So, yeah, if God gives you that conviction, I mean, it's a strange conviction, but you do you. But it's so funny because I was doing some research, and in the Bible, when God speaks about like kind of removing hair in general, in the one sense it's for cleanliness purpose, and in another sense it's like in a different context it's like seen as like a shameful thing given the cultural background. And so I don't think it really matters. Like if you want to, then do it, especially for hygienic reasons. Like if you want to, then do it.
Although like or
if you're comfortable,
be hygienic. You can be hygienic and
still have hair. At the end of the day,
well. Like just wash yourself, people.
Yes, it's natural.
And it's there for a reason.
I was like, how do I answer this question? Because it's obviously a Christian question. Like, is it a sin? And I was like, in everything, like, just ask, like, what is your intention?
Yeah.
So, like, if you are wanting to shave your pubic hair because your partners only ever watch pornography and that's how porn stars look.
Yeah. Terrible.
Get out of your relationship, please.
Yeah, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's not a good... If you're doing it for anyone else other than yourself, like, red flag.
No, exactly. And, like, the effects that pornography has had on, like, the perception of what a woman's vagina should look like and, like, what the general area should look like is really, really disturbing. Because it's, like, everything that's natural for most women is all of a sudden unnatural and gross. Because, like... There are like reasons to shave. For example, like if you are in the summer, like, and you like to swim a lot of costumes like don't have very good coverage, and if you have like a bikini line or whatever, like you wanna clean up around there. Yes. I mean, obviously, if you don't want to, that's fine. Like there's literally no judgment. There's nothing wrong with it, but there are certainly very good reasons to do it if you want to.
So just ask, what is your intent?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Those are all our questions.
This
is a shorter episode than normal.
I'm surprised, but I don't have too much to say. And like I said, there are a couple of things, like I'm very keen to do an episode on female health. Also, for those of you, if you are new listeners, we do an episode on pornography specifically with a guest. So go and check that out. It was called... Dehumanizing sex. So go and listen to that one. But this was good. I feel like if I had to do this in front of like an audience, I would die. But because I'm just talking to you,
it's just me. Well,
yes,
there is going to be an audience.
I know, but I'll hide.
Yeah, but when it's people online, like they don't really exist. They're not real people.
They're not real. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
guys.
On an episode of Virgins Who Talk About Sex.
Thank you.
And yes, we will see you in the next episode.
Indeed.
Bye.
Bye.